Hello dear children, welcome to Nagesh Karasgi Orchid School channel. Today we are going to study new lesson of geography, lesson number 7, that is human environment, settlement, transport and communication. Right from first standard we are learning environment and we have learnt in our lower classes also about transport, communication, settlements also. It's a very simple lesson, so we will study further what are the settlements, what are permanent and temporary settlements, which means of transport is used and what are the communication facilities, all we are going to learn in this lesson. We know that early humans, how they used to survive, they were entirely dependent on nature. They used to live on trees, in caves, they used to eat whatever was available in the forest, they used to hunt the animals and eat raw food also. But as with the time, they have started with new skills, they started to build, settle where the water was available, they started to live in the huts, building huts and wherever the water sources were there like lakes, valleys, they started to settle there. So, we are going to learn what are settlements actually, what are temporary settlements, permanent settlements and further we are going to read more about it. So, let us start with the lesson. So, the title itself you can understand human environment, settlement, transport and communication. Now, human environment, human beings, after that it comes where they are settling and after that if they have settled at one place, transportation comes if they want to travel from one place to another place. If transportation started, they need to communicate also. So, all these are related. The title itself we can understand. Now, we will start to read the lesson. In chapter 1, you have learnt that early human beings depended entirely on nature for food, clothing and shelter. But with the time, they learnt new skills to grow food, build homes and develop better means of transport and communication. In this way, they modified the environment where they lived. So, as I told you, early human beings, they were entirely dependent on nature for food also, clothing, shelter. But as the time passed, they started to learn new skills to grow food also, build homes, develop better means of transport and communication. In this way, they modified the environment where they lived. Now, settlements. What are settlements, children? The place where the people started to live, build their homes, those are settlements where people build their homes. Early human beings lived on trees and in caves. When they started to grow crops, it became necessary to have a permanent home. The settlements grew near the river valleys as water was available and land was fertile. So, especially they used to select the place where water was available because water is the main source of living beings. So, if wherever the water was available, they used to build small homes and settle there only, and where the soil is fertile. For what purpose the soil should be fertile? For agriculture, for growing crops. With the development of trade, commerce and manufacturing, human settlements became larger, settlement flourished and civilizations developed near river valleys. Do you recall the names of civilization? Yes, we have already learnt in our previous classes what is civilization. That do you recall the names of civilization that grew along the banks of rivers Indus, Tigris, Nile and Huang-He. So, you can pronounce Indus, Tigris, Nile and Huang-He. So, these are the banks of rivers where that civilization grew. Now, here in the box you can see, do you know the place where a building or a settlement develops is called its site. Okay. The natural conditions for selection of an ideal site are favorable climate, availability of water, suitable land and fertile soil. The climate should be favorable and main thing is availability of water and suitable land for agriculture where fertile soil is available. Now, settlements can be permanent or temporary. Settlements which are occupied for a short time are called temporary settlements. The people living in deep forests, hot and cold deserts and mountains often dwell in such temporary settlements. They practice hunting, gathering, shifting cultivation and transhumance. So, which are permanent temporary settlements where people live for a short time, where it is available, where there are deep forests, hot and cold deserts and mountains. They dwell in such temporary settlements. So, they live in these temporary settlements. They practice what? They practice hunting, gathering and shifting cultivation and transhumance. Transhumance is that it is a seasonal movement of people. People who rear animals move in search of new pastures according to changes in seasons. So, they rear cattle, that is livestock. However, more and more settlements today are permanent settlements. In these settlements, people build homes to live in. Now, today more and more permanent settlements are there, where the houses, buildings are built and people settle there itself. Now, here see human settlement. You can see here the houses. Now, we will read one story here. It was Mary's birthday party. She and her friends were waiting for Gurpreet, who arrived so that Mary could cut the cake. Mary's birthday party was there. So, they were waiting for Gurpreet, who was about to arrive. As soon as he comes, they were planning to cut a cake. At last, Gurpreet arrived and he found what? Tired, coughing and wheezing. Wheezing means when you are taking a breath, a sound comes from your chest, that is wheezing. At last, Gurpreet arrived, but he was very tired, he was coughing and he was wheezing. She explained that traffic jam was terrible. Mary's mother, Mrs. Thomas, patted Gurpreet's back and sighed, "Oof, the pollution in our city." Prasad had recently come from his village. He asked, "Why do we have such traffic jams and such pollution in the cities?" Now, Gurpreet was very tired. She was coughing and wheezing also. Then Mary's mother, she patted Gurpreet's back and said, "Oh, poof, the pollution in our city." She exclaimed in this way. Now, Prasad, he had recently come from village. Now, he was very shocked. Why so much traffic jam in cities? He asked, why do we have such traffic jams and such pollution in the cities? He had a question mark. The number of vehicles is increasing day by day due to the growing population in the cities. Mary's father, Mr. Thomas, replied. Mary asked, then why are people coming to the cities? Now, here the number of vehicles are increasing day by day. So, there is pollution in the cities. Mary's father, Mr. Thomas, replied. Then Mary asked, Then why are people coming to the cities? Why more and more people are coming to cities? Her mother replied that they come for jobs, better education and medical facilities. Many people, they migrate, they come to the cities for good education, for job purpose, and they get good medical facilities also in cities. Mary further inquired, if so, many people keep coming to cities, where will all the people live? She is having one more question. If more and more people are settling in cities, then where they will live, where the space is there? Then Mr. Thomas, her father, said that it is why you see so many slums and squatter settlements where people stay in congested and unhygienic conditions. Now, wherever the people are getting space, little space, they are living there. In slum areas, you can find the houses, very small houses, where there will be not much facilities like water, proper water they don't get, proper space is not there. But even though they settle in those areas, and where it is unhygienic also, not clean. Shortage of power and water supply are common problems in the cities. Prasad said, now Prasad again is telling that our villages may not have big cinema halls, well equipped schools and good hospitals, but we have lot of open spaces and fresh air to breathe in. When my grandfather was sick, we had to rush him to the city hospital. Now even Prasad is saying that our villages may not have big cinema halls, not much facilities, not well equipped good schools or good hospitals, but we have lot of space and we get fresh air to breathe also. But again he is telling that when his grandfather was sick, they had to rush him to the city hospital because medical facility was not there. Very small hospitals or clinics will be available in villages. Now next paragraph. From the above conversation, we can identify two different pictures of settlements, the rural and the urban settlements. Rural means villages, urban cities. The villages are rural settlement where people are engaged in activities like agriculture, fishing, forestry, craftswork and trading, etc. In villages what people will do? They do farming, agriculture, fishing, forestry, they collect the products from forest, craft work they do, and they do even trading, they sell and buy the products whatever is grown. Now rural settlements can be compact or scattered. A compact settlement is a closely built area of dwellings. Wherever flat land is available, you can see figure 7.2. In a scattered settlement, dwellings are spaced over an extensive area. This type of settlement is mostly found in hilly tracts, thick forests and regions of extreme climate. Now you can see compact settlement where the houses are built on a flat land, wherever they are getting the space, flat land, they build their house and stay. So it is compact, the houses are very close to each other. And in scattered settlement you can see very too much space you can see between the houses, those are scattered. Okay. So this type of settlements are mostly found where? In hilly tracts, thick forests, the regions of extreme climate. This is compact settlement and this is scattered settlement. Now in rural areas, people build houses to suit their environment. In regions of heavy rainfall, they have slanting roofs, places where water accumulates in the rainy season The houses are constructed on a raised platform of stilts. So, we learnt this also in our previous classes. People build houses to suit the environment. Wherever there is heavy rainfall, their roofs are slanting so that water will not settle on the roofs. And places where water accumulates in the rainy season on the ground, if the water is stayed there accumulated, so in those places they built the houses on raised platform. Those are called stilts. You can see here on a higher level from the ground. Thick mud walled houses with thatched roofs are very common in areas of hot climate. So, thick mud walled houses with thatched roofs are very common in areas of hot climate. Local materials like stones, mud, clay, straw, etc. are used to construct houses. The towns are small and the cities are larger, urban settlements. In urban areas, the people are engaged in manufacturing, trading and services. In cities, what people do? They manufacture the products, they do trading and they have jobs, services they do. Name some of the villages, towns and cities of your state. Yes, this is one more activity for you. From your state you can name some of the villages, some of the towns and cities. Which is our state? Maharashtra. So, you can find it. Now, transport. Here you can see a house built of ice. Where do you find dwellings made of ice? Who makes them and what are they called? It is a question for you. Do you know this? What it is? These type of houses made of ice are found in Arctic zone, Antarctica or in polar zones. And what is this house called? It is called igloo. Okay. And who built this? They are called igloo. And who makes them? Eskimos. Okay. In our lower classes we learned this. Now, transport. Transport is the means by which people and goods move. In the early days, it took a great deal of time to travel from distances. People had to walk and used animals to carry their goods. Invention of the wheel made transport easier. With the passage of this time, different means of transport developed, but even today people use animals for transport. You can see here, animals are used. Now, transport in earlier days it was very difficult. People either they used to walk and they used animals to carry their goods or even people. But by the invention of wheel, it became easier. Now, more and more inventions had happened and the transportation became very easier. See, house cart you can see as a mode of transportation. In our country, donkeys, mules, bullocks and camels are common. In the Andes mountains of South America, llamas are used, as are yaks in Tibet. Llamas means it is a type of animal which belongs to camel family. So, these are used in Andes mountains of South America, yaks in Tibet. The early traders from other countries used to make several months to reach India. So, earlier with people they used to spend lot of time to travel. Why? Because of the transport facilities. So, the traders from other countries they used to take several months to reach India. They took either the sea route or the land route. Only two routes were available, sea route or land route. Now, aeroplanes, that is air route, have made travel faster. Which is the fastest means of transport? that is aeroplanes, air route. Now it takes only 6 to 8 hours to travel from India to Europe. See, very easy it became and very fast also people can travel. Modern means of transport thus saves time as well as energy. Now here in the box it is given, let's do list the different modes of transport used by the students of your class while coming to school. Yeah, we can list it. Many students, they come by different modes of transport. Some come by auto rickshaw and auto rickshaw, some by car, some by van. Some they come by motorcycle with their parents. So you can list some of your friends' modes of transport. The four major means of transports are roadways, railways, waterways and airways. This also we learnt earlier. The four major means of transport are roadways, railways, waterways and airways. There are several national and state highways in India. The latest development in India is the construction of expressways. The Golden Quadrilateral connects Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata. So, the information they gave here, the expressways which connect the quadrilateral, you know how many sides are there, it connects Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata. Now, we will learn the means of transport. Roadways first. The most commonly used means of transport, especially for short distances, are roads. They can be metalled, pakka or unmetalled, kacha. Pakka roads are there, kacha roads are there. Okay. Figure 7.6 and 7.7 you can see here. Metal roads which is built with what? Cement, charcoal, everything, and here are kacha roads, unmetalled roads. Okay. The plains have a dense network of roads. Roads have also been built in terrains like desert, forest and even high mountains. Manali-Leh highway in the Himalayan mountains is one of the highest roadways in the world. You should underline this and keep, very important. Roads built underground are called subways or underpaths. Flyovers are built over raised structures. Underground underpaths are there which are built underground, roads, some of the roads, and flyovers, they are raised structures. Now we saw this metalled and unmetalled roads. Now next we will go to railways. The railways carry heavy goods and people over long distances quickly and cheaply. Many people prefer to travel by railways. So even they can carry heavy goods, and people over long distances also prefer to travel by train, which is very comfortable as well as cheap. The invention of the steam engine and the industrial revolution helped in speedy development of rail transport. Diesel and electric engines have largely replaced the steam engines. In places, superfast trains have been introduced to make the journey faster. The railway network is well developed over the plain areas. Advanced technological skills have enabled laying of railway lines in difficult mountain terrains also, but these are much fewer in number. Indian railway network is well developed. It is the largest in India. Indian railway network is the largest in Asia all over. It is the largest in Asia, not India. Indian railway network is well developed. It is the largest in Asia. Now some of the railway lines are built on mountain terrains also, but they are very few, not much. Now you can see one map. The Trans-Siberian Railway is the longest railway system connecting the Petersburg in Western Russia to Vladivostok on the Pacific coast. Now you can see the connection here, the route, railway route. Okay. Siberian railway network is shown here. Now waterways. Waterways, you have already learnt that since early days waterways were used for transportation. Waterways are the cheapest for carrying heavy and bulky goods over long distances. They are mainly of two types, inland waterways and sea routes. Navigable rivers and lakes are used in inland waterways. Some of the important inland waterways are the Ganga-Brahmaputra river system, the Great Lakes in North America and the river Nile in Africa. Sea routes and oceanic routes are mostly used for transporting merchandise and goods from the one country to another. These routes are connected with the ports. Some of the important ports of the world are Singapore and Mumbai in Asia, New York, Los Angeles in North America, Rio de Janeiro in South America, Durban and Cape Town in Africa, Sydney in Australia, London and Rotterdam in Europe. Can you name some more ports of the world? See, inland waterways, the picture is shown here. So these are the some of the water routes, waterways. Now we will go to next topic, that is airways. This is the fastest way of transport developed in the early 20th century. It is also the most expensive due to high cost of fuels. Airways is expensive. Why? Because the fuel cost is much. Air traffic is adversely affected by bad weather like fog and storms also. If there is fog or storms, it will affect the route of this airways. It is the only mode of transport to reach the most remote and distant areas, especially where there are no roads and railways. Helicopters are extremely useful in most inaccessible areas and in time of calamities for rescuing people and distributing food, water, clothes and medicines. Okay, here you can see 7.9 figure. Some of the important airports are Delhi, Mumbai, New York, London, Paris, Frankfurt and Cairo. Figure 7.11. We will see in the next page. Here it is given. So, in the next period, we will learn more about, communication. Now, the transportation topic is over. So, here helicopters are used where extremely useful in most inaccessible. What is mean by inaccessible? It is difficult to reach. At those places helicopters are used where natural calamities like floods, earthquakes they occur and people are in need of food, clothing. So at that time for rescuing people helicopters are used and they give the necessary things for the people. So in this way we have completed transportation. Now in the next period we will go with communication. So we have completed transportation part. In the next period we will go with the communication and complete the lesson. Till then, bye, take care, thank you.